Hello everyone, this is Jason Merkle with Horizon Hobby, and we're here today with the E-flite Ultimate 3D. And some of you guys may recognize this airplane. This is basically an updated and upgraded version of our E-flite Ultimate Squared that we had some years ago. That was a pretty popular airplane at its time, and I think for that time it had good performance, pretty good servos and control and so on and so forth, but times have changed. And so we really liked that airframe in general, and what we decided to do was change everything that we could about it. So overall the airframe is the same. The overall dimensions, we've got a lot of the same surface features, and we have CA hinges in with the molded hinges. We've got the quick connects for the wing installation, all those same features as the original, but then at the same time we upgraded every electronic component in this airplane. So we went to higher torque and higher speed metal geared servos all the way around. So we've got a little bit better control and performance overall. And then on top of that, we also changed to smart components. So we've got a 3S and 4S compatible motor, which is specially tuned for this airplane with a new prop. And then we have a smart 60 amp Avion ESC. And then that comes in both the plug and play version and in the Bind and Fly basic version. And then in the Bind and Fly basic version, you also get the Spectrum AR636TA receiver, which has full range telemetry. Of course, with the smart ESC, you get telemetry, but you also then have to have a compatible receiver to get that telemetry to your transmitter. And so the beautiful thing about this setup is you have all of the benefits of smart. Not only with a regular battery, with the standard battery, you still get overall pack voltage. You can have alerts set up at your transmitter for that. But then if you have a smart battery, you get additional data on top of that. So let's go ahead and show you guys some of those screens. So I've got it set up right now with a smart battery installed. And so I'll scroll through here. You guys can see kind of the standard smart data that you get. This screen is very interesting. You get a lot of information here. You've got motor RPM, voltage of the battery. Ultimately, you'd have current if the motor was running. You can see the temperature of the ESC, and then you can even see the BEC voltage output. And this is a screen that a lot of guys fly with this up because they kind of see the bulk of the data that they need. They got a little bit of a battery bar up here at the top with the smart battery, motor RPM volts, again, current, throttle percentage. FET temp is basically your ESC temperature. And then here you've got the battery information specific to a standard or smart battery. So you get this screen with both. But then what's really cool is with a smart battery, you've got individual cell voltages. That's a really, really cool feature to have. So a lot of information available to you at your fingertips with a smart setup. And I like to have a low voltage setup in here to alert me while I'm flying when I hit LVC, even before my ESC LVC starts to kick in. It's just kind of a nice additional audio alert that I can pay attention to and make sure that I land before I run out of battery power. So real quick, we do have again a 3S and 4S power system installed in here, and I am flying it with a 4-cell Spectrum 2200 milliamp 30C smart battery today. And then with smart technology, we also have motor reversing. Now you do have to have a 7-channel transmitter to take advantage of the reverse function. That reverse function is hard-coded to channel 7 at the moment. We may change that in the future so you can put it on different channels. This is basically only a 4-channel aircraft. You've got ailerons, elevator, rudder, and throttle control, of course. And then if you use in the Bind and Fly basic version, Safe Select, you would have to have a 5th channel for that. So you do need a minimum of a 5-channel transmitter. Of course, most guys have a 6-channel transmitter. I'm using a DX8 here. I strongly recommend, guys, you always have an 8-channel transmitter. If you're looking to upgrade your transmitter, or maybe you're ready for your next level transmitter, 6-channel used to get the job done for a lot of people, but more and more of our airplanes are going to need a 7th or even an 8th channel to take advantage of all the features. So highly recommend DX8E, DX8, DX9, IX12, so on and so forth when you upgrade your radio. But again, we got this really cool reversing function, and I'm going to show you guys that. By the way, I did set this up per the manual. So I've got my reversing on the A switch here. Now, some guys will say, hey, that's my retract switch normally. Of course, this airplane is not equipped with retracts. When the switch is in the back position, my throttle works normally. I have throttle cut on right now just to be safe, but when I turn that off, if I advance the throttle with the switch in this position, it goes forward. If I flip the switch the other way, it brakes the motor and then it quickly turns it back the other way, and it provides some reverse thrust. It's a really, really cool feature, something that takes some getting used to, I'll admit. I do have this airplane set up with AS3X and Safe Select. I'll be flying it primarily in AS3X today, of course. And then I do have all my rates on one switch. And one thing I wanted to point out is in the manual, we have a high rate, of 100%, a low rate of 70%. The control surfaces on this airplane are quite large. It's very capable. I do strongly recommend if you have a 3-position switch, go ahead and set up triple rate. So I've got 100, 75, and 50% control throws all the way around. And I will say that I enjoy using the 100% for 3D, but when I do most of my sport flying or my precision aerobatic flying, I'm always doing that in the low rates. So something to be aware of. All right, so we're gonna show you guys what this airplane can do. So I'm gonna turn off my throttle cut, and I'm going to set the motor to reversing, and I'm gonna back out to the flight line. Now, steering an airplane when you're driving backward, it's a little bit different because it basically is the opposite of what you'd expect. Little rut there. So this is one of the coolest aspects of having the motor reversing feature. You guys can see it has unbelievable power with 4 cells. Unlimited vertical, no problem, all day. And one of my favorite 3D maneuvers, kind of classic now, the blender. Love that it can do those so well. Then I a lot of times like to come out of a blender into an inverted Harrier, and in general, Ultimate airframes are some of the best when it comes to inverted Harrier. It's so locked in. Oh, and by the way, you guys can see the difference in the trim scheme top to bottom. I love having those checkers on the bottom. And of course we can do upright Harrier. And we'll bring it closer to the camera here and put it into a hover. No problem. Boy, the roll rate on high rates is phenomenal, guys. It is something to watch out for. So I'm gonna switch to now my low rates. And so I've got the 3-position switch. My low rates are basically 50% control throws all the way around. And you can see, even on my low rate, the roll rate is pretty darn impressive. I'm gonna come back by here and do a loop. And again, this is low rates, guys. At 50% with the stock setup, it's a lot of control. So I'm not sure that everyone is gonna be comfortable with the 100% rates for high right out of the box. It's something to watch out for and be aware of. But what I like about this low rate setup is I can do really nice precision aerobatics. So point rolls, no problem. Getting strafed by a P-51 there.
Sorry about that, guy.
No worries. We're gonna go up here and do a little stall turn. Bring it back by. Do another loop here. And it just has so much power that you can do huge loops if you want to. I'm gonna fly it out, bring it back by inverted. Also want to mention that I do have the 4-cell 2230C battery pushed all the way back in the battery compartment, and I've got pretty neutral handling upright to inverted. I need very little down elevator when I'm inverted. And there are 2 stab joiners included in the box. There's a lighter weight carbon fiber and or fiberglass tube, and then there's also a steel rod. And I have the steel rod installed because I primarily plan to fly this with the 4S batteries, and I do want a little bit more tail weight. And I'm basically doing this inverted pass at about 3rd throttle right now. Such a well-mannered airplane, guys. And then something else that Ultimates in particular do extremely well is knife edge. So I'm gonna bring it by knife edge for us. It just looks so good doing the knife edge. And I'm gonna go back to high rates, and I'm gonna turn on motor reversing when I do a downline this time. Show you guys what happens. So there I've got the full throttle, full reverse active right now. And you can see I can do some kind of crazy aerobatics and then switch back to forward motion. And that, by the way, guys, is the LVC that I have set to come on to alert me at my transmitter before I hit LVC at the ESC. And I know I haven't been flying very long, but I have been using quite a bit of full throttle. Do a little bit more 3D flying just because we can. Oh, such a good airplane for Harrier flying in particular. Inverted Harrier flying. So basically, guys, everything from mild to wild. Scale flying, sport aerobatic flying, precision aerobatic flying, and now again we have unbelievable 3D performance and capability that we didn't really have with the original version. Do another blender here before we land. Love that. And now I'm gonna go to low rates for landing. Flip to high rates to get my elevator to help slow me down a bit. Now I could also use motor reversing to slow it down on the ground, but that does take some getting used to. And I'll show you guys something kind of fun and kind of just silly. I'm gonna leave the throttle at about half, and I'm gonna switch between forward and reverse. And you guys can hear and maybe even see, it just briefly brakes the motor before it turns it the other way. And we have tested this ESC reversing setup a ton of times, guys, and we have not found any issues with it. Switching back and forth so quickly, no problem. We've even done it at full throttle. We wouldn't recommend doing that on the ground, but you could if you wanted to. And then it is so cool that you can literally back it up. So there you guys have it. The new E-flite Ultimate 3D, better than it's ever been, updated, upgraded. Oh, and I didn't mention it earlier, and looks of course are subjective, but I gotta say guys, this new trim scheme, I think it looks fantastic. It's easy to tell the top from the bottom with those checkerboards on the bottom. Everything is better than it's ever been on this model. Be sure to check it out. Thank you.